welcome to the first video of Planet Zoo. So, this game is going to be in beta mode. It's in beta from today, September 24th to the 8th of October. I will try to make some videos out of the beta of the game. There won't be much in the game, in the beta I mean. Just the first scenario and some stuff else. So, without further ado, let's start. It will be a male, an adult, swim, white. They said perhaps? Yeah, that one. We have already some customization options. Beard, maybe that one. Yeah. Accessories. Can you change the color of the... Yeah, you can.
Whoa.
Let's make me darker, yeah. That's the one. Accessories, no glasses. There will be much more to choose from. This is just to show off the game to anyone who has the beta. Let's give you a lion, rhino, or hyena. Let's call lion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's put me facial avatar HQ. Movement you have shared. Let's put it on the Iberian Peninsula. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's where I live. For anyone who doesn't know, we have career, friend size. Let me just do that. Yeah. We have career, friend size, and that's it. Sandbox mode is not available on the beta, only on the final game. So this one is interesting, but let's do career. We have only the first scenario. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 scenarios. Goodwin House. Country. So you come in. So we have to complete the work that someone else has done as the villain. I mean, sorry. So let's start. I do like the music, by the way. Looks pretty nice. Water baths can help reduce crowd congestion. I may also live stream this game on Twitch, at least the beta, on twitch.com/homer20. Be sure to check it out. I will also put the link to it on the description. Wow.
Heyo at Hematu. Yeah. Sorry about that. I have a habit of slipping back into the Planko language. It's good to finally meet you in person. I'm Bernard, although I insist you call me Bernie. The only person who calls me Bernard is my wife. And even then, only when I've tracked elephant dung
That's a
into the
humor.
carpets. As you know, I own several zoos,
chimpanzees,
but I
bears,
always
yeah.
like to show people the ropes here at my home. This
I am
is
so
the
excited
first
to
zoo I ever opened,
play the game.
and a source of great pride for me. And pride,
Lioness,
thanks to a lion breeding
a lion
program we
cub.
ran in the 80s.
Oh, look, it's Simba.
But we're in the
And
middle of
Mufasa.
a big renovation, and that's where you come in. Sadly, our old contractor had to retire after developing a fire
Elephants.
regime. Poor devil kept sneezing his dentures into the lion habitat. So, it's up to you to finish everything off.
Zebras, giraffes.
Don't worry, though. I'm not completely throwing you in at the deep end. My head
Yeah,
keeper,
come on.
Nancy Jones, will be lending a helping hand. Oh, she's a hard worker, and she'll expect you to be too.
I
But
am.
I'm sure you'll get along like a house on fire, or even better, one that isn't on fire. Less shouting that way.
Hello there. From that rosy, fresh face of yours, I'm guessing you're Bernie's new hire. Good. Now, I hope you're ready to ditch your diploma because we're about to get really hands-on. But before we begin the real work, how about we familiarize you with the zoo by learning how to fly around it and visiting some of our beautiful animals?
Up and
We'll
down.
start by popping over and having a look-see at the
Left and
grizzly
right.
bears in their habitat.
Select. So, you need to have a look around the habitat. Okay. You can also move around with the right mouse button. Object placement. You might do that where you're down the road. I mean, I'm sure you can. I'm sure you can. Come back to this menu. Type screen. Okay. So video help. Maybe on help, isn't it? Yeah, it is on help. Cool. So, first things first. Let's do video. These might be the animals that are in the game. Just these ones. Oh, these are all the. Sorry. These are all the animals that will be available in the game. So what are we supposed to do then? I'm kind of lost here. Barriers. No, not here. Exhibit trading. No. Maybe next time that's the one I want. Animals. How do I even like? Oh, I'm so stupid. Why do you have this highlighted? Ostrich Habitat. Why do I have
Did
this?
you know that grizzly
Oh.
bears, also known as Ursus arctos horribilis, can hibernate for up to 7 months a year? Oh, but
Sure
then
about that.
again, given the chance, I think a lot of people would do that too. Select one of the bears and you'll bring up its information panel.
That one.
This
Yeah.
is where you can find out all kinds of information about your animal. The most important thing being its overall welfare. You'll learn more about animal welfare today as we go through your objectives. But for now, let's enjoy this magnificent animal. Why don't you select the camera at the bottom of its information panel? See now, this is a fantastic way to get a close look at your animals. You can also get this view of an animal by simply double-clicking on it. Okay, when you're ready, let's pop over to the other side of the zoo and take a look at the lions. I've marked their location for you to find.
E. Now I have to rotate the map around. Sorry about that. I think the game is bugged. How do I even... Oh, that, yeah. You need to go up. I want to go up, not in front. How do I reset the camera? Remote camera, back control, video controls. I can't even orient the game camera, to be honest. That's maybe an issue. Okay. I think we may have just fixed it. Let's just stop closer to it.
Panthera Leo, or the West African lion.
That was hard.
Lions are the most social of the big cats, and there can be as many as 40 lions in a pride, although prides of that size are pretty rare. As Bernie would say, those lions are awesome. Which is precisely why I handle the training instead these days.
Sorry about that, by the
how
way.
about we get started on those objectives? Come on, let's head over to our warthog habitat and see what needs doing there.
Now let's not try to go crazy. Where's the warthog? So, do we even have a map? Habitat, limits. Warthog, there it is.
As you can see, it's a lovely space for warthogs, but it's missing a certain something. Well, two
Warthogs.
somethings. The warthogs.
Exactly.
So I'd like you to adopt a pair of them. To adopt animals, we need to open the animal market, which is in the animal trading section. There we are, a pair of perfectly splendid warthogs for our zoo. Just click on them and select Buy from the side menu. Normally the animal exchange would be full of animals, but I've emptied out the market while you learn
It's
how it
adopt, not
works.
buy.
The last thing I need is you accidentally ordering a dozen elephants.
We can also...
When you adopt an animal, it's automatically placed in the trade centre, where they're held until you're ready to move them into their habitat, which, as it happens, you are. So how about you move them into their new home?
That's done. Now we just have to wait for the
When you
zookeeper
ask
to
for an
come.
animal to be moved into a habitat, your caretakers will go to the trade centre, collect your animal, and deliver them to your selected habitat. I've marked the trade centre's location, so let's go and watch the caretakers in action.
wonder what that is. Maybe back here? Nope. Oh. Nope, not there. Where the hell is it then? Very hot. And you just have, oh, there it is.
Well, as you can see, those caretakers don't hang about. They'll move those animals to their destination as fast as possible. Of course, normally we'd have to place the animals into quarantine before moving them into a habitat. But I am assured by a person of good standing that these warthogs are in the very rudest of health. Right, let's get the warthog's habitat finished up so we can keep them nice and happy. You see, each animal in the zoo has an overall welfare statistic, basically how happy they are. And that overall welfare statistic is itself comprised of 4 different areas: nutrition, social health, habitat, and enrichment. Luckily, if you select an animal, you'll bring up their animal welfare information panel, which we saw earlier, where you can see how they're doing. That way, you'll know exactly what areas need to be addressed. Don't worry if that's a lot to remember. You can always check the Zoopedia for more information.
I'm not sure if we
Let's
also
start
have
by making
Timo.
sure we're taking care of the warthog's nutrition welfare. To do this, we'll need to place a food station and a drinking station. Now, each animal requires a different type of feeding station, and for the warthogs, it's a small feeding trough. So let's add one of those and a water bowl.
Species, warthog. Oh, these ones. Okay. Let's place them, I don't know. One here. And the other perhaps over there.
Animals also require stimulation to keep them happy. Let's add a lovely mud bath for the warthogs to roll around in. That bath will count towards their enrichment welfare, specifically their toy enrichment welfare.
I was thinking that, yeah, this thing. Right in the middle.
Oh, nice work. You've got a knack for this, I see. Now, our contractor had to leave in a hurry, so this place is in a feral state. Unfinished thingamajigs and what's-its all over the shop. But the first thing we need to finish is the Ostrich Habitat. It's over near the hippos.
Let's see. Zoo, animals, habitats. Ostrich. Warthog. The hippos. So if you want the hippos in then to the ostrich, there you go. Oh, it's not complete yet.
Job number 1 here is to add
That's
a
why.
habitat gate before we complete the barrier. Every habitat needs a habitat gate. After all, how else would the keepers get in and out? Just make sure it's hooked up to the path so the keepers can reach it.
Let's put one right over there. Obstructed, huh? Why is it obstructed then? It shouldn't be.
Right!
There you
Let's
go.
complete the perimeter barrier so we can adopt us some ostriches.
And
I've marked out an area for you to use, so I'd like you to finish off the perimeter using the brick barrier.
you can just increase. There you go. And we'll has completed.
Good work.
Yes.
Remember, before you can place animals in any habitat, it has to have a full loop of connected barrier. Now, you've probably noticed that guests can't actually see into this habitat at the moment. At least not without a stepladder. But seeing as they're banned, I'd like you to select a piece of barrier and swap out the brick for a glass barrier, so the guests can see in.
How do we even swap?
There we go.
Ah.
Adding in more windows gives guests even more opportunities to see the animals in a habitat. It's always best to make sure the guests can get a good view into a habitat from the path they're walking on, because it makes them happy, and because this would be a pretty terrible zoo if they couldn't.
True.
The last thing we need to do is to add a donation box. You see, when guests enjoy the view of an animal, they'll make a donation. Just make sure you put them in easy-to-reach places, like near a viewing point. Donation boxes are one of the main sources of income for the zoo, so make sure you remember them.
Of course.
All right, you've finished the habitat, so it's high time we adopted those ostriches, don't you think? Let's get 4 of them in here.
Animals, these 4. 2 females and 1 male. 2, 3, and 4. Send to 2. Now let's get the other ones as well. That one over there. And last but not least, let's get you in there.
While we wait for them to be collected by the caretakers and brought to the habitat, you should get it ready for them. Add a suitable feeding station, water station, and an appropriate food enrichment item. It's often best to place things like enrichments and feeding stations near to the habitat perimeter, so guests can get a really good view of the animals.
You also need food. There it is. On a switch. Football warts. Now we need enrichments. We have to select the animal. Food enrichments. Habitat. Enrichment items. So feeder. Let's put them back there. And done.
Oh, good to see the ostriches have somewhere they can really stretch their legs. Did you know they can actually run at 43 miles per hour?
Really?
Oh, heaven forbid they ever escape. The speed camera fines alone would bankrupt us.
Well, Bernie certainly seems impressed. Did he do his speed camera joke? Every time we get an ostrich. So, now we've made the ostriches' lives a bit better, let's do the same for the keepers, shall we? To make it easier for the keepers to feed the ostriches and hippos, we should build a new keeper hut. Keeper huts are where the keepers prepare the food for animals, so they should be placed near to the habitats to make sure the keepers don't waste their time walking when they should be looking after the animals.
That one maybe? How do I even rotate this thing? There's the where I should come back to the menu and stop facilities. No, not there. Where do I how do I rotate the buildings? Build the zoo. Yeah, maybe it's this one. Creeper huts. There's some basic control of not creeper huts. There you go. Rotate Z plus the arrow keys. Facilities, creeper huts. Z plus the arrow keys. Oh. Let's put you right on the why couldn't I that's that? Basement area, where even is the basement area? Oh. There's back. I'm an idiot. And boom. There you go. Nope. Yeah.
This keeper hut only has space for one keeper, but the larger keeper hut can allow multiple keepers to prepare food at the same time. Oh, but bear in mind that keeper huts and other staff facilities shouldn't be placed near to areas where there are lots of guests. Guests don't like seeing facility buildings, and it can affect their happiness negatively. In case that wasn't clear.
Yeah, I know.
Something that all facilities, shops, and a whole host of other objects need is power. And that obviously includes your newly built keeper hut. So let's place a transformer next to it, shall we?
Assuming I do know how to do that. Activities. Yeah.
Now, the reason everything has gone blue is because you're using the power heat map. This map allows you to see what is and what isn't powered in your zoo. So once you've placed your transformer, you can click in the bottom left to turn the heat map off. Lovely work. Now the keepers can start using the hut to prepare food, and thanks to where you've put it, they won't need to walk very far to deliver it to the ostriches and hippos. Let's get on to your next objective then. Bengal tigers. We want to adopt some, but I'm afraid there's nothing ready for them yet. Head on over to the plot of land I've marked out. It's not too far away.
We're going to do that on the next episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a like, comment below. And subscribe if you want to see more content. So, I'll see you next time. Howdy.